Hey, hello everyone, wherever you are on this wonderful world. I hope you're having a glorious day. Today, I want to talk about a certain group of people. Now, it never came out their mouth. I'm going to tell you this. It never came out their mouth. But other Gentiles love to say these people are the children of God. Remember, they never say it. That's one thing. They never, ever admit that they are the children of God. They never, ever admit to that. The Gentiles do that. Now, the Israelites, because I read the Bible many times over, the Israelites, they sinned a lot. But when they got tired of sinning, they got tired of suffering, they will always get on their knees and come back to the God of their fathers. The people who the Gentiles love to say are the people of God. And all the years we have known them, have you ever seen these people as a whole, as a group, fall on their knees and say, let's return to the God of our fathers? I never heard them say that. So how can they be the people of God? The next thing, the true Israelites, in the New Testament, the Old Testament, they always took pride in saying, I'm the descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Over and over. When God talked to Moses on Mount Sinai, he loved to say that himself. He said, I am the God of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the Israelites, the true people of God, they love to say who their descendants were. Do these so-called people, who the Gentiles like to say the people of God, I never once heard them say, I'm the descendant of X, Y, and Z. Have you ever heard them say the descendant? But they love to say, I'm a certain three-letter word. I'm not going to say no name, but I'm not going to put my finger in nobody, but it's a three-letter word. They love to say we that, but they never ever once say, I am a child of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I never heard them say that. The next point, in the Bible, over and over and over, the people was referred to as Israelites, whether they was in the tribe of Judah or the tribe of Israel. They always were called Israelite. The people who the Gentiles love to say are blessed by God, they do not call themselves no Israelite. So, are these people truly the people of God? Because they call themselves something else. And it ends with the letter I. That's my only clue I'm going to give you. It ends with that letter. The letter I. But they never ever, in my decades long of life, and you can hear I'm a full grown adult, I never once heard them say, I'm an Israelite. All throughout the Bible, from Genesis, I better say from Moses onward, they love to say, I'm an Israelite. Or God himself will say they're Israelite. My next point now, like I said, I read the Bible over and over. Right now I'm in the book of Judges. The children of Israel, they was always underneath somebody's foot. And not for a mere decade. Like those people like to say, they love to say we suffered. But they only suffered for a decade, a little over a decade. In the Bible, and I read the book of Judges, they was under people's thumbs for decades. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Cushites, the Jebusites, and on and on and on. They was underneath those people's thumbs for decades, with the ES on the end. Not for a mere 10 years like the people who the Gentiles love to call blessed was suffering. They only suffered for like a little over 10 years. the people in the Bible, like I said, they suffer for 40 years, 20 years, sometimes 10, but for the most part, they suffer for decades, not just a minute of time. And when they did get released from their suffering, the whole world didn't come to their aid. Like I read right now, some of the prophets, when they was in Babylon, they had to go back to Israel to make to fix the city. I don't think the Babylonians gave them 1 cent. I'm wrong, somebody correct me. When they broke the bondage from the Romans, I don't think the Romans had to pay repetitions to them for making them suffer. The children of Israel in the Bible, when they got released, the person that said, "Get out of here, you free." Who does that sound like? I'm going to say it again. In the Bible, when the children of Israel was released, the person usually said, "You gone, goodbye." Now, the only exception that I know of was the Egyptians, because the Egyptians suffered so horrible since Pharaoh was so stubborn and hard-headed. They suffered so horrible. When the Israelites left Egypt, Egypt gave them all their gold and all that. They said, let's take it all. But for the most part, when they suffered from the Cushites, the Canaanites, the Jebusites, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, Assyrians, etc., and the Greeks, they just were saying, "You gone, leave," like a certain people who I know. No one ever said, those nations never said, "I'm going to give you some money so you can build up your so-called homeland." Nobody gave them nothing. So that's another thing. They only suffered for a few years. The Israelites in Egypt, they suffered from 400 years. Then Abraham had that vision where he said, in the distant future, your children will be in a land that's not their own. Not their own. Remember, in the Bible, the Hebrews, they went to Egypt. The Egypt didn't drag them there. In the future, Abraham's descendants was dragged to a land that's not their own. Egypt was in a part of the world that they lived in. They spoke the Egyptian language. He said, he told Abraham, when I send your descendants to another land, they're not even going to understand the language. Who does that sound like? I'm not going to say nothing. Who does that sound like? And then last, before I let you go, good people, let me tell you, before I go, the Israelites in the Bible, they knew their lineage. They said, "I'm the son of Abraham. I'm the son of Isaac. I'm the son of Jacob. I'm the son of Methuselah. I'm the son of Matthias. I'm the son of Elijah." They could go all the way back to Adam. Whenever I hear these people on the television, can they tell you? Because if they're the people of God, if they're the chosen people, they should be able to tell you what was it like being under Roman captivity. Because they should have ancestors who was there. And you know, the ancient Hebrews were sort of like Africans. Like an African griot would tell you your family history. The Hebrews did the same thing. They told each other their family history, because that's how they knew, this was my father, and this was his father, and this was his father, and this was his father, on and on. They knew their family history. So the so-called people who say the three-letter word people who say these people who the Gentiles call the people of God, they should be able to tell you from their ancestors what was Rome, what was it like under the captivity of Roman. They should be able to tell you that, because they say they're the people of God, the people of that book. Their ancestors have passed down the history. I never once heard them say, or wrote a book about their ancestors' report of what it was like in Babylon. I never heard them once say, here's a book from my ancestors that's telling you what they suffered in Assyria. Never. So that's it, my people. These people, see, nobody ever put this stuff up. Never. But I brought it up because I studied the Bible. I read the Bible. These people who the Gentiles love to praise and say they're the people of God, number one, they don't take claim of the being a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Number two, they don't say, I'm an Israelite. They give themselves a different name. Number three, they really haven't suffered like the Israelites suffered. The Israelites suffered over and over and over. And I say Israelites, I mean as a people. I'm not talking about one person or two people suffering. No, the Israelites, Israel and Judea, they both suffered captivity, slavery, brutality as a people. I ain't talking about one person. They can never say as a whole group. Now I ain't talking about somebody making fun of you, teasing you. They ain't no. I mean suffering. Like the people in Egypt, they suffered hard. I mean that type of suffering when you gotta work from sun up to sundown. That type of suffering. I ain't saying that people taking away your money and all that type of stuff. Now that's not really no suffering. Physical suffering. They never say that. They only talk about the little 10 years or so that they suffer, and that's it. And my last point, they never talk about the history. If they the people who go way back thousands, and the Gentiles love to say they go back thousands of years. If these people who the Gentiles like to say are the children of God, they should be able to tell us, or somebody should be able to tell me, what was it like under all those forms of captivities? Thank you for stopping by. People, I just gave you something to think about. Till the next time, peace. All right, so